everyone, it's Jess from Meyer Hatchery. Raising meat birds is such a fun and exciting adventure for you to have on your farm and homestead. One thing you want to remember with the meat birds is they do grow very quickly. There's a couple things that you want to keep in mind when raising your meat birds to ensure that they are happy and healthy birds. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some common health problems and how to prevent those with your meat birds. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to talk about is lameness or leg issues with the meat birds. Meat birds are growing very quickly, and if not properly monitored, they could have leg issues. One thing that you can do to help prevent lameness with your meat birds is to make sure to regulate their feed. And this means feeding them on a schedule of 12 hours on and 12 hours off. And we're going to mention this type of feeding a couple times today. Another thing to help prevent lameness with your meat birds is you want to make sure that their brooder is on an even surface. So you want to make sure the brooder is nice and flat and that it's sitting somewhere nice and even. If your brooder is uneven or is on an uneven surface or it's slippery, it can cause your birds to have leg issues. You also want to make sure that you're using a good quality pine shaving bedding with your meat birds so they can build that strength in their legs. Another thing you want to be careful with your meat birds is breast blisters. And basically this is if your birds are kind of bent over too much and they're rubbing that area on the ground or on the bottom of their brooder and irritating that area. To prevent that, you want to make sure that their feeders and waterers are at back height. So when they're eating, they're standing up in eating instead of laying forward. The other thing is, again, you want to make sure the brooder is super clean, so you're making sure to clean that bedding often. You're using the good quality pine shavings. And if you're pasture raising your birds, you want to make sure that you are rotating your birds on fresh grass. Another thing that you may have heard of when it comes to raising meat birds is they can have issues with heart failure. And the best way to prevent that is to follow the guidelines for the type of bird that you are raising. So the Cornish Cross, you want to feed them 12 hours on and 12 hours off. If you're raising a bird that maybe takes a little longer to mature, then you want to follow those feeding guidelines for those particular birds. If you're overfeeding your birds, that can cause them to grow too fast and can cause issues with their heart. Another thing that you want to watch for with your meat birds, and kind of this goes with any poultry, is Coxidiosis. So you want to make sure, again, we're going back to that brooder or where you are raising your birds. You want to make sure that their brooder is nice and clean, that their feed and waterers are kept very clean, and if you're raising them on pasture, that you're moving them somewhere where it is nice and clean. Cleanliness is the key to keeping your meat birds happy and healthy. Another thing that you want to watch for is overcrowding when it comes to your meat birds. So you want to make sure that they have plenty of space to move around. If you overcrowd them too much and they can't move around, you could have heart issues and more leg issues with your meat birds. Another thing is if your birds are too close together, you can have a buildup of ammonia because meat birds, they do poop a lot. And if you have too much ammonia, it can really affect their lungs, their respiratory system, and can cause them issues. So make sure when you're choosing a brooder or wherever you're going to be raising your birds after they're out of the brooder, that they have a good amount of space and the proper amount of space for those birds. So the last thing I want to talk about is heat stress when it comes to our meat birds. Meat birds can struggle with regulating their body temperature. They're growing so fast and they're eating a lot. So you want to make sure to take the proper steps to keep your meat birds nice and cool. If your meat birds become too hot, that can lead to panting, which takes a lot of their energy and it can cause dehydration, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure where your birds are housed, whether it's their brooder or their coop as they get older, you want to make sure that coop has good cross ventilation. You want to make sure that your meat birds have cool water, fresh, clean water at all times, even if you have to change it multiple times throughout the day. You can feed your birds in the morning and the evening when it's a little bit cooler. That can help them. You could also put some supplements or electrolytes in the water for your meat birds. And lastly, you want to make sure that they have, going back to that space, you want to make sure that the brooder and the coop has plenty of space for your birds, at least 1 square foot per bird. Hopefully, I've given you some tips when it comes to raising your meat birds. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below. I've left the link in the description below with some information more about not only the different types of meat birds we offer here at Meyer Hatchery, but some additional tips to help you with raising your meat birds. Thank you so much for watching.